Hello, hello, everybody, and good evening on this wonderful Sunday evening. I'm RozB, Rosalind Booker, and I have my friend. I tell you, she's definitely not a novice to the industry, but on this Black Poetry Day, I reached out to Monda Webb. And I asked if I could interview her and if we could chat it up about this wonderful national special holiday, Black Poetry Day. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I was doing a little reading up on it, and what not a better way to honor those who in history have been great novelists, writers, authors, but yet we have some present day filmmakers, authors, poets like yourself, Monda, that's moving and shaking and shaking and moving. And, I just believe God is bringing people like you from the back to the front. And I'm just honored to know you. I got a chance to meet you through our National Association of Women in Real Estate Businesses. National association that we were a member of, and I might say fell in love with you. I'm like, this girl is great. She is wonderful, awesome. So I definitely want to just say thank you for being here and taking the time. I know we both have busy schedules. According to this bio that I'm going to read, when do you sleep? That is the question. That is the question.
a good question, huh?
Yes, 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 yes. So let me introduce to most and present to those who will come on board and come back and listen to the replay, Miss Monda
Mhm.
Raquel Webb. He is an award winning author, filmmaker, and a performing artist. She's an independent storyteller, and she is really dedicated to telling those little known stories that are hidden, in the crevices of our history pages. When I read that, Monda, I said, that's it in itself. I kind of wanted to stop there and marinate on that because in doing some research about the Black Poetry Day, the relevance and the importance of Black poetry, authorship is very important to educating. And I just want to stop right there. And we're going to get to go through some more of your bio, but I just want you to share a little bit about the importance of Black poetry.
I believe that art in any form can be used for uplift, entertainment, enlightenment, and education. And the reason why is for me, uh, our, the curriculum that we have in our high schools and our elementary schools and all our formal learning institutions do not adequately address Black history. We are either mm, not mentioned as if we're invisible. When we help to build this country, when Black bodies were hung and beaten and tarred and feathered, and we helped to build this country, it needs to be something. There needs to be something that tells those stories. So traditionally, Black people have an oral tradition of passing history down. And in recent years, I haven't seen as much of that. So I have literally, when people ask what keeps you up at night, I've literally been very concerned about disappearing. And
Wow.
when you see, so, and Roz, I love you, but in the great state of Texas, when you see legislation that's being uh, created uh, to ban teachers from saying that the Ku Klux Klan were immoral, to take slavery out of the history books, to remove the N word from books that existed when the N word was, truly acceptable. You don't just erase history. It shouldn't be allowed. And I
Yeah.
felt very seriously that some of our Jewish brothers and sisters would allow for any pieces of the Holocaust to be erased from
Right.
the.
Well,
So
you make a very, very good point, and my expectation is you be the candid, authentic Monda that I know that you are, and you are not going to cut any corners because let's just dive right in. I know since the untimely death of George Floyd,
mm,
there's been research that states that dignitaries, those in the C-suite, even in the political realm, are now gathering to pull out and unveil some of the Black history authors, their books, even movies, I guess, to educate themselves. And they're looking for people like you, Monda. Have you seen that? And can you attest to that?
there is some momentum, which I think is great. There are uh, production houses, television stations, even PBS that are looking for BIPOC artists, writers, directors, and for those who may not be familiar, it's for Black, Indigenous people of color. Um, so I've seen that. My concern is that by next year, the momentum will die as it has done in previous years. We've had spurts of, major creativity and like international acceptance, and then we kind of fade into behind the curtain again. But it is imperative that the momentum stay, that the movement stay, that the Motion Picture Association of America takes very seriously its stance on diversity and hiring people of color on these major motion pictures. And just hey, give us an opportunity to level the playing field. And when it comes to our learning, when it comes to being able to participate on sets, just to the extent where we don't have to talk about it anymore because it's not a thing. It's just a part of the way we're operating, which is with parity, with justice, with equality, right? So
Absolutely,
mm-hmm.
absolutely. So, what about the person that would say, why you got to put Black on it? Why, how come it just can't be Poetry Day? Why do we keep regenerating the past? Why do we keep bringing up? How come we just can't move along? And what would you say to that?
And to them, I say, why not? I think that if we, from the time we're born to the time we die, we are fed a steady diet of white images, white this, white that, and there's never question. So we have to carve out a piece for ourselves because if that was the case, then we wouldn't have the Black Lives Matter movement because of the treachery and the horrible history that some bad actors have imparted upon us as a people. This is something that we have to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you talk about storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
writing a novel, writing a nonfiction book or a fiction book. Can you explain the differences and can you share a little of your storytelling?
Sure, Roz. And I want to thank you for having me on. And I know we're all ripping and running at the speed of light, but I appreciate you taking the time out of what your passion and your purpose is to address this topic and to invite me on. Um, I I write, I produce, and I direct films, and I also am a poet. I'm a poet first, I've been writing since I can remember, since I was about 8. And I have a short film that I wrote and directed in 2015 called Zuboka Show.
And
And
I had a chance to look at that. And let me just interject and say, when I saw Zoo,
uh
it was shrilling to the point. I'm like, this existed, this happened, that's real. And I mean, it's something, a very, very great short film. And I see that every year you continue to receive award after award after award. Yeah, can you talk to us about Zoo? What's the moral of the story?
Yeah, it's truly a blessing. A Zoo Roker Show is about the uh, first day, from my perspective, the day in the life of an African girl on display for the first time in a human zoo at the World's Fair in Brussels, Belgium, in 1958. I saw a photo on Twitter in 2014 that showed this little girl in a human zoo, and she wasn't deformed. She didn't have any physical. There was nothing wrong with this little girl, but yet she was in a pen with a dirt floor of the ground, and it was billed as the savages. Come see the savages, and I was blown away. When I did a little bit more research and found that the theme of the World's Fair was a new world's view, a new humanism, and they were touting, all this technology and new shiny stuff in 1958. Yet you had a human zoo. I just had a knee-jerk reaction to it, and I believe that God just gave me a script. I didn't know anything about screenwriting, and I just saw it on like parchment paper. I literally saw what this movie could be, and I had to be a movie. We are an extremely visual society. Yes, many of us love to read, but so many of us like the quick fixes and looking, television, film, streaming, whatever the case may be. But I said it has to be a short story and it has to be told. We know about the horrors of slavery. We know about the horrors of the Holocaust. But something like a human zoo, it's so obscure. And the fact that this is something that over 1 billion people went to see human zoos when they were around, and we had them here in the United States. They're all over the world, very popular. And so I just went on a mission. Like, look, someone's going to learn about this. I mean, I was 49 years old and didn't know about it. So, and that's on purpose, right? So I said, look, whatever I do from now on, I'm a part of my purpose is to make sure that I am presenting information and in a hopeful and enlightening way. It might be not good to hear, it might hurt your feelings, but this is stuff that is real. It happened, and if we're not careful, history will repeat itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that I tell you, Zoo is very compelling and it is educational. And I would have never thought in a million years that that is something that could have happened. So, in your experience of
Mhm.
producing, I also had an opportunity to see one of your short films, The Pooch Sitter. Oh my God, that one too. Monda, I see, is winning award after award. Now, I came to Denton. Was it the Denton Film
Like,
Festival?
yeah.
Yes, and got a chance to see that with a group of people, and it is hilarious. So, you know what you do, Monda? You make dreams a reality. Here
Mhm.
I am in the presence, in the company, and in relationship through what I thought was real estate with a producer, and I'm going to go ahead and speak it, that will be making movies in Hollywood. I mean, wow. Like, I can touch, I can see you, I can laugh with you, I can do life with you. And I mean, you're doing it. You're making films, you're telling stories, you're making history. And what I love about it is that you love everybody.
I do.
Yes, you love everybody. And your boldness, your passion to stand on what you believe and speak the truth with such vigor, it is contagious. And, I need you in my life. And that's, I wanted, people's like, well, who are you, Roz? And what are you doing? And why would you do this for Monda? Well, I'm a champion, championing another champion. And this is something I feel, yes, is very important about Black Poetry Day is to hear from someone who I believe is sincere and authentic, and you speak hard truth in love. So, without further ado, can we hear a little bit, just a taste of your work, of your writings?
Yeah, you can. And uh, I would like to start off with something sweet and soft, but you know what, love? I couldn't do it.
Oh,
I
come
can
on.
I can end with something sweet and soft, but this is kind of fresh off the presses, just with regard to its completion. It's something that
Oh, this is brand new.
this is new.
Ooh.
I have a couple of poetry books, Life's Like a Soul Train Line and A Peek into My Soul. Howsoever, this was almost on a napkin. No, it's so fresh.
Oh my.
But you mentioned it earlier, and I wasn't sure if I was going to share, but something that you said triggered, and I'm like, yeah, I think I will. So um, I'm just going to go right into it. No context, but
All right.
put on your seatbelt.
I'm putting it on.
All right.
Keep
Uh,
your arms and legs
yeah.
within the cabin at all times. Okay.
And sometimes, when things happen historically, it takes me a minute to kind of process what's going on and then to write about it, right? Because I have to do kind of a healing first because things are so painful, right?
Yes.
So this is called I Can't Breathe, a Black History Lesson in memory of George Floyd.
Mm.
Please, I can't breathe. Unarmed, harmed, swarmed by prejudice and hate. 9 minutes, 29 seconds too late. I can't breathe. George Floyd dead. I can't breathe. Breonna Taylor shot because the cops said her home was a drug drop. Not. I can't breathe. 1619, shackled and chained. Health compromised, dignity drained, draped in pain, covered in feces, blood, beginning the DNA trauma train. As you raped me, ignored my pain, leaving a permanent stain. I can't breathe. Because I see at the many ways you try to kill me, destroy my seed, defer my dreams, scare me, tar and feather me, dare me, hang me, picnic and photograph me, burned and mangled me, entangled in your pathetic tomfoolery, scorn me, trying to take a vote from me, intimidate me, make rules that eliminate me, incarcerate me, redline and block bust me, and devalued housing and high percentage loans meant to prevent me from building wealth. I can't breathe. We wear the mask that grins and lies, but you are unmasked. Your intentions I despise. For my would have been ancestors who died at the door of no return made the historical imperfections of your intent, snatching, stealing, dealing without our consent, burn, baby, burn. You should be ashamed at your behavior, peddling photos of a white savior, but it's me who saves you all the time, get you out of binds, yet you strip the skin off our behind with a rawhide whip as we built your plantations, harvested your crops, fed your babies, and sold your drip, then skip to my loo like it's no big deal, choosing to believe the myth that we're not real. Your property, your divine right, wishing with all your might, clicking your heels 3 times, blink, we're still here. You still fear because deep inside you know that we are human, but I still can't breathe. You put lead in our water, we wade in the water, faith beyond your cruelty, hope above your lies, even though we know that violence is as American as apple pie, that you're addicted to black bodies hanging from southern trees, to Colin's public humiliation for taking a knee, for a just cause, pause, while an economic noose tightens around our necks. Get your knee off our necks. We are exhausted. We cannot breathe. But no matter what you do, we will not go gently with the breeze. We will continue to march in these streets, voices hoarse, getting blisters on our feet, staying the course to lift a 400-year oppression and replace it with a succession plan. So we can breathe with policy fans and practice equality and humanity to the full extent of the law. Less. Reminiscent of 1968, demonstrations rushing cities like a freight train to mitigate the pain. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Eric Garner, chokehold, body crumples and folds, no more breath, a senseless death like so many. Ahmaud Arbery out for a jog, shot down with two guns, an act you wouldn't take with a dog. Hashtag facts. How dare you start all this mess when England booted you and kept their best? You sailed for the US amidst great hope to make a new home, a place you can call your home. Visions of church steeples, land you stole from indigenous peoples. You raped, pillaged their land, you cleared, you burned, you shot, leaving a trail of tears. You clustered native people on reservations without reservation, and I wonder how much you owe them in arrears, the original people in this nation. But somehow you had to build my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, oh snap, why not build on the backs of the enslaved? The new trade, their labor will be free, ply them with religion so they'll behave. You went to another continent, traded soul for black gold. This must be heaven sent. More black bodies you bring to work, reproduce, and bow to your will, numbing your ability to feel because black people aren't really real, and owning slaves in your divine right, a myth you believe with all your might, refuse to give up the fight on Capitol Hill with political will, slave codes, reconstruction, black codes, Jim Crow, abductions, filibustering. Can you put up streetlights to see the faces of the enslaved at night? Show me your papers then, because you don't think I'm free. Show me your license now to match a description of someone who should be arrested. Pick one. It don't matter. You all think we look alike anyhow. Hands up. Don't shoot. Legs apart. Don't kick me with your boots. Orders bark, the scuffle, indiscernible sounds. A lock, a load, shots. My brother's on the ground. I can't breathe. As you tighten the rope around a proud neck, click, clack, a modern day zip tie that begins the collective cry. The oversized size, the tears of mothers whose children have lost life as they know it. This vicious cycle repeats itself. Whispers from black bones, acts of crime and violence historically performed in stealth, now captured with civilian cell phones. The future does have a past. At times, it's hard to tell now from then. How long can this illness called racism last? Do we need to start all over again just to be considered human? God said, after Noah, he wouldn't drown us. After Sodom and Gomorrah, he wouldn't burn us. And with a snap, Thanos cut the world's population in half. Well, that's not the right path, but we are a strong people, dealt a bad hand, survivors of a system meant to beat us. It's a wonder we still stand. So we'll continue to fight because Black lives do matter. We will pull, tear, rip, and tatter at the racist fabric that form this nation. With anti-racist allies at our side, we shall overcome with forgiveness and healing, a mass reconciliation. Then and only then will we breathe.
Wow. Oh, Monda.
Hmm.
So how long did it take you to prepare that?
It's been months in the making. Bits and pieces will come to me, you know.
So would that go in one of your upcoming books?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I see here in your bio that you do participate in your fair share of activism and have a great social impact. As you were talking and reading your poetry, the question came to me, Monda, will you be running for a political office?
No way.
You like, no.
No, I'll stick to the art.
Have you been asked?
No, I mean, people will tease me and say, "Oh, you should run for mayor," da, 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 but no.
Anyway, I thought I would just plant that seed. It seems
Ah.
so passionate about the cause, and you speak such, with such conviction, and you speak for, what you believe and the people, and a lot of people have their voice muzzled and they can't speak as
Mhm.
fluent and as bold and as freely as you do. So I just want to say, job well done, sis. Job well done. And I'd like to ask, what's next for Monda?
Well, I'm working on a documentary currently called Portraits in Black, um, honoring our national treasures. And I've had an opportunity to speak with seven, and it will be eight as of next week, African Americans who have lived through watershed moments in American history. Again, I believe it's super important to hear their stories, and they're just regular folks like you, me, and they have survived, and so um, I wanted it to kind of be as if you were talking to Auntie, in her living room or on her patio, to tell these really important stories and to give you a sense of so that people can have, I guess, more empathy towards the Black experience. So I had an opportunity, just to give you an example, to speak with a Black aviator who fought in the Vietnam War. Now, I've seen a ton of movies on the Vietnam War, and not once have I seen a Black helicopter pilot. But there were 600 or more or less, that fought for this country. I had an opportunity to interview after Loving versus the state of Virginia, when the Supreme Court landmark case that allowed blacks and whites to get married in this country or outlawed miscegenation. Um, I spoke with a woman who was the first person to get married after that, after the Supreme Court decision in 1968 in Richmond, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was, I thought that was very. I mean, she shared some very interesting information, and we got a chance to kind of live in her shoes as she recollected. I spoke with the woman who marched on the last day from Selma to Montgomery, and that was an engaging tale.
Wow.
And so next week I'll be speaking with Dr. Sybil Jordan Hampton, who graduated, was the first African American class to graduate from uh, Central High School in Little Rock. So
Wow.
some of you may remember in '57 when it was integrated with the
Wow.
National Guard and the Little Rock Nine. It was so bad they didn't have a school the next year,
Yes.
58.
Yes.
And so in '59, this little 15-year-old girl went in and came out and graduated. So I look
Yes.
forward to hearing that story and then, of course, sharing it with you all. So hopefully in the spring of next year, that
Wow.
will be available to.
Wow, Monda. Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. You're doing great things, girl. I heard something that you mentioned is, your hope is that empathy would be given to the Black heritage. What else would be your ask so that we could get the ball rolling to see some progress other than empathy? What else, Monda? Through your poetry, your films,
Mhm.
your writing, what is your ask?
Well, Angela Davis said, it's not enough to be against racism. You must be anti-racist. And I think that if these there can be some subtle changes towards a mind shift in who we are as a people, and to respect where we've come from, and to treat us with dignity. And I mean, you can't mess with an elephant here in the U.S. or any pets or animals without people going up in arms. But when it comes to Black Death, you know. So that's I hope that that becomes a part of the changing tide,
Yeah.
right? These stories. We're already human, but to some we need to be humanized, you know. So
Awesome.
yeah. Mhm.
I truly believe that, love is a language that we all understand. And I know as a culture and a people, we've been impacted in various ways. Um, when we talk about freedom, you know, there in there will be people to say, well, I've not had the same experiences as some of my forefathers, and they're taking advantage of the rights that people have fought for and died for. But as a culture and as a people, and I may be getting way too off the beaten path here, do you feel that we also have a responsibility um, to this convergence?
Absolutely. Actually, first and foremost, because if we don't care enough about ourselves, then why should we expect other people to? You know, this is something that starts from the inside. And to me, the only way to have that type of burning desire is to know who you are, whose you are, and to understand your history. Because if you don't, there's nothing. I mean, we're more than Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks. We're more than that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm going to be a little selfish right now, and I'm going to put it out there. If you're not doing it, you know what I would love to see you do, Monda?
hmm,
Some children's books, a
okay.
series, because I would buy them. Yes, yes. Children's audio, children's book. You know, children are very visual. I
Hmm.
say books
Hmm.
um, to share some of that history. So just keep that in mind.
I will, from your lips to God's
Keep
ears.
that in mind.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who have joined, those who will come back and listen to the replay, we have been interviewing with Monda Mogul. I call her the Mogul. Monda Raquel Webb. She's a dear sweetheart. We share in our profession together. We are real estate gurus, movers and shakers. But obviously, from her bio, she is much more than just a realtor. And we expect to see great things from you, Monda. We expect to see you on the big screen. When we see those credits from some of those movies that will be displayed, see your name, producer, on there. And guess what? I'm expecting to get on that flight with you too as we travel the world. You cha-ching from those movies, girl. But anyway, again, friend, thank you so much for spending this last 30 minutes with us. And just want to honor and champion you and say, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Roz. Keep on keeping on.
Awesome. Bye, love.
Bye bye.